Hello and welcome to Words of Quizdom. Joining us today are Mrs.Jayashree Mohanka and Ananya Upadhya. Mrs.Jayashree Mohanka is a veteran quizzer, a past winner of Mahaquizzer, and an entrepreneur. Ananya Upadhya is the woman behind a herd of quizzers, which is a women quizzer safe space. Thank you for joining us this evening.
All right, so our first question is really simple, really basic. What got the two of you into quizzing?
Ma'am, you can go first.
Yeah.
In school, we used to have, I was in a Kendriya Vidyalaya, and we used to have within the house boys versus girls quizzes. So it was great fun, very competitive, and no looking back. Class 6, 7, really long back.
Oh, wow. How about you? What got you into quizzing?
So I think in my school, it was because of we used to have stay back clubs for different things, and one of them was the quiz club, and Nexus used to conduct that, like Nexus with the Venkatesh sir and Rishi sir and all that. So they used to conduct quiz clubs after school for us, and I joined that. And there was also like regular quizzes in our school for various fests and things. So since then, I've been quizzing.
That's great.
The next question I had for the both of you was, do you have any particular favorite topic that you would quiz occasionally in, or what is your favorite topic in quizzing in general and why?
Okay, shall I go first?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, my theory is that quizzing isn't like a subject. It's not something you study for, it's whatever you're interested in. So if I have a favorite topic, it's just the stuff that I'm regularly interested in, which are traveling, books, current affairs, history a little bit, science a little bit. And more than a plus list, it's a negative list which scares me, which is music, movies, the whole world of entertainment. I'm very bad at that. It's not that I don't watch, but nothing sticks in my mind. And I know that I can't force myself to memorize something that I don't like. So that's how it is.
If I could stray off topic here for a bit, do you have a favorite author or a favorite book?
Oh, no. Too many to talk about, and they keep changing. And it depends on my mood. Right now in lockdown, it's old favorites. Jane
Such as?
Austen, Wodehouse,
Classics.
Yes. Conan Doyle, all these people.
Yeah.
And a lot of scientific stuff. I'm reading a book on the 1918 pandemic called Pale Rider, which is very scary. Not the right kind of thing to read now, but anyway.
Right. How about you, Ananya?
Right. So just like how ma'am said, even for me, it's the negatives that scare me. Specifically, I think sports. Like I just can't bring myself to even if I'm not that interested in it. So even if I were to study, I don't think I could remember as much as someone who is interested. So it's more about like how ma'am said she doesn't study for quizzes. I think like nowadays a lot of quizzes are studying pretty hard for quizzes, and I've started reading up more on certain topics I like, which is like history, art history, a little bit of science history as well. So I've started reading up on those. But I don't think reading up on on sports is going to help.
I like sports, luckily, so I don't have a problem with that.
What are your sources for like getting information?
Ma'am,
sources?
Yeah.
Are they like
particular
life
website?
is a source. No websites. I've been quizzing before the internet was invented, so no question of websites. What happens is, if you are interested in knowledge or information in general, you read the paper, you read magazines, you read whatever comes your way, and then things stick in your mind. It's not that you go out looking for information or stuff. Having said that, one of the most nightmarish experiences I had was the Mastermind series of quizzes where you had to pick a topic and study. And I picked people whom I was a great admirer of, and I won't tell you who, but towards the end I was wishing that they had lived less and didn't do so much, because it's terrible to go on and on memorizing it.
That's quite understandable, actually.
Yeah.
Do you both have any quiz masters whose sets you enjoy in particular?
Mine, I think, yeah.
Yours?
I think mine would be like I've grown up seeing Mahaquizzer quizzes, so that's always a favorite. And
Very good.
like there are some quizmasters who are trying to broaden quiz from more of a knowledge-based thing to a sort of thinking-based thing, where
Right.
they give you details and you only need to fill in the gaps using like the bare minimum general knowledge and not specific general. Yeah. So what I was saying is that in quizzing, I think apart from Venkatesh Srinivas and Venki sir quizzes, I specifically like Walnut Quiz Club a lot because they're trying to bridge the gap between knowledge and thinking. So how quizzes earlier and now today, even in the UK and other countries, quizzing is largely like it largely revolves around trivia. Whereas now in India, it's a lot more thinking based and connecting the clues. And I think Walnut is doing a great job in terms of setting quizzes where you have to rely more on general knowledge and you don't need a lot of specific general knowledge, so anybody could take part in them.
Right. So more about thinking than about rote memory or facts and stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any memorable quizzing moments or just a memorable quiz in general?
One that stands out of
Yeah.
all of them.
Too many.
What's the first one that came to mind?
It's actually a very crazy experience. This isn't something, not an achievement of mine, but there used to be a very fun quiz across alumni called Business Today Acumen, where they paired you up randomly with different people. And my teammate was a very good biz quizzer called Ravi Shankar Shah. And they had a jigsaw puzzle kind of thing where they revealed the face of the person bit by bit as the clues come. And on the first clue, with just a part of the eyebrow of the person showing, he recognized Milton Friedman. And we built such a big lead after that. It was great fun. We could pound, we could get negatives, but nobody could catch us. So that was a very memorable experience.
Ananya, what about you?
Yeah.
So incidentally, I have a very similar story to this. Again, it was my partner who did it. It was in a young world quiz, and we ended up winning that quiz. But what happened was, in pretty much a very similar round, there was Virat Kohli's face. And my partner, I think he was a little slower than Ravi Shankar sir. He took like two, three reveals, but he got it before anybody else. And a lot of people were still thinking it's like a girl. Like you had so little of the face revealed, it could have been anybody. But my partner got it, and so pretty much the same. And another thing which happened. So the thing is, my partner and I have been quizzing for like since both of us got into it seriously. We've been together in throughout school. Now we won't be together anymore because we're entering different colleges, but because of that, so we had developed a very like a really good rapport. So what happened was we needed in a semi-final, we needed the last question to enter the finals, and my partner, after seeing the question, which was about a mandolin player, mandolin Srinivas, he buzzed, and he said he buzzed, and I had to answer. Like I said that the instrument is mandolin, and then he said, "Yeah, I didn't know the answer, but I knew that you would get it, so I buzzed." So that was great fun.
Yeah, that's great.
One. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
I just wanted to, Jayashree, this was for you. You've been quizzing for a really long time compared to all of us put together also.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know, how has the quizzing circuit changed from the time you'd started to right now?
Yeah, in all of its aspects, like how are the questions different, the framing, style, structure?
Oh, very different. See, I'm talking about quizzing in the 70s and 80s. Like if I put together all your quizzing experiences, mine will be more than that. So in those days, you didn't have, forget internet, you didn't have any projection system. So you had to read out. So questions couldn't be long. You couldn't have connects. You couldn't have all these jigsaw puzzle things. You couldn't have bounces. It was a sorry, you could have bounces, but they hadn't invented it then. So it was slow. It was more rote. It was more, recall and memory and stuff like that.
Right.
I think it's better now, much better now. Apart from the issue of not having enough women, which I've brought up, it's more inclusive now because the kind of topics and the kind of variety of things are much, much greater.
Yeah.
Their sources were also less. No? You didn't have so many things from which to pick up. Games and I'm talking of manga and video games and stuff like that didn't exist.
So it sort of broadened the horizons and the topics that they could use to create questions and stuff.
Yes.
So speaking of quizzing experience, how has your Mahaquizzer experience been?
Oh, Mahaquizzer is actually like an exam. It's a solo written test, but for the fact that I do well in them, it's not my favorite kind of quiz. I love team quizzes. I love live quizzes, which are always better. And it's something you miss during this lockdown. The human interaction, sitting down, huddled, working out an answer across 2 or 3 or 4 people. Nothing to beat that experience.
Did you have a certain kind of preparation for that quiz, or?
No, same problem. It's too vast. You
Right.
can't prepare. You can prepare if it's a specific quiz. Like if say you're doing a quiz only on the other kind of things you do. WWE. Of course, I wouldn't go anywhere near it, but there are people who are experts at it, and there are others who have nodding acquaintance and who would prepare for it. And sometimes you have these organizations which do an environment quiz or something like that. You can prepare for this, but if it's a general quiz, it's very, very hard to prepare for it.
Do you participate in the current online quizzes that are happening right now during this lockdown?
I'm not on Instagram, so that rules me out of a lot of quizzes. But there are informal Zoom quizzes which happen, and I'm taking part in those.
That's good.
Only with known people. I'm not comfortable with, recorded things by and large, as you know. So, which is why I was not keen on getting onto this also, but it's okay.
Thank you so much for.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing
It's
this.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah, so getting back onto the subject of female representation in quizzing, how did HOQ come about? Like, what was the conception of Herd of Quizzers like?
It's her baby, so she should talk.
Right. So basically, what had happened was that in Ramjas Quiz Society, which is like one of the foremost in DU and like across India at large, they had a talk on women in quizzing, and what are the various hurdles that prevent women from participating as much as men do. And I think after reading the minutes of the Ramjas, the session which they had, I started thinking more about this. And basically, I hadn't envisioned the page and anything like that. I just wanted to create a group where we could be together and discuss issues like this on a larger scale, because that was only restricted to like DU students and students of the college. So I thought we could have a much wider sort of group for that, and that's how I started the page, and I started the group rather, a WhatsApp group in November, and then in April we started the page on Instagram.
Who all did it? Who all were in
Yeah.
the beginning, like the starting time, when you had this idea?
In the starting, I reached out to like women quizzers whom I knew, who were like really well connected and knowledgeable. Of course, so there was Anindita. She's really, especially in Delhi and Kolkata, I think she has a lot of connections. And Akanksha from Delhi again. And then they introduced us to Jayashree ma'am, who got us a lot of people from like from her era of quizzing who are still continuing being quizzers. And then like it slowly grew as we started getting more reach. I put up a post on OVB, which is like, it has around I think more than 10,000 members, I think, or yeah. So Auto and Business, it's there on Facebook. So I think it was just a few hours in the beginning, but we grew pretty fast.
How has the experience been with creating it and the response?
Right. So it was a really encouraging response. I never thought that we would cross 100. But then now we reached the maximum limit just a few days back on the WhatsApp group, and even on Instagram we've crossed I think around 900 followers in just a month or two, which is like it's great that it happened, because I wasn't expecting it to happen, especially because of the whole reason for creating the group, which is I didn't think there were so many women quizzers who were interested. But it's great to see this, and not only from, another interesting thing is they're not only from tier 1 cities like Bangalore, Kolkata, Delhi, Mumbai. We also have a lot of quizzers from the smaller cities who want to take part and who want to get into quizzing more seriously. So I think that's great.
That is amazing. Congratulations on something this terrific.
That's a phenomenal initiative, and I'm really proud of the way she's appreciate it across the.
Thank you so much. Means a lot.
Yeah. So do you guys conduct quizzes regularly as part of HOQ or?
Right. So on the Instagram page, we're trying to keep like a set on women in various fields. So we had women in
Right.
sports. We had 2 quizzes on women in cinema. Women in law is coming up, and so we've had 10 quizzes like that so far. And also, like just like any other WhatsApp quiz group, people are free to share questions or share interesting funda, share interesting articles anytime they want. So that's happening quite regularly.
Great.
Jayashree ma'am, you still quiz regularly or is it
Yeah, yeah.
occasional?
No, I quiz regularly.
You quiz
I
regularly.
still quiz regularly. Yes.
Ananya, do you have anything in mind, like the future of HOQ? Like, do you have like big plans or anything as such planned when you right now?
Like it's just about making quizzing more inclusive, bringing more people into the fold, conducting more quizzes on the page, collaborating with other pages. So we had a collaboration with this really awesome page on Instagram. It's called Delhi Metro Quiz, where all the questions are centered around Delhi metro stations. So we had a collaboration with them about stations which are named after women. So we did that, and so we're looking to do more collaborations, just like getting more people into this, like not because like I want the page to grow or something. I mean, that's an added bonus, but more important it is to bring women into quizzing. And sort of like a lot of people have told me that the page and the group has encouraged them and made them feel that they have some kind of support to fall back on. So that's the main point of this.
That's great.
Yeah.
Jayashree ma'am, were there a lot of women back then when you used to quiz? Because right now it's very scarce. The number
Lots of women. We didn't have the kind of hostility that seems to be there now. Women were very much part of quizzing, and there was no trolling, and it was probably 20 to 30% female, the participation. And you would have 1 or 2 women teams in the finals also. So it was very normal.
Why do you
I don't know
think
how it went away. I don't know. I've wondered many times. And I don't have an answer. I've been asked this so many times. I haven't faced any hostility, but I know younger women have. So probably it's just the way the times have changed. That's all I can guess.
Valerie, do you have anything else?
I was wondering if you had any other anecdotes or stories to share with us regarding, say, a prep for a quiz or, any advice to quizzers or anything of that sort.
Yeah, I have a story about prep. This is from my mastermind days, which is also more than 20 years ago. That was the first time any of us were doing solo quizzing. It wasn't popular then. And they used to take us and put us up somewhere, and the shoot would happen the next day. And lots of people like Suresh and Movin and Ochinto and all, we met for the first time. And since we were all equally nervous, we would sit around in each other's rooms and practice asking questions. There was a general part and there's a subject part. So the general part, everybody would ask 10, 20 questions to each other and time it. And we became great friends. It was like a life-changing experience.
Anything that you have, Ananya?
About just about women in quizzing, like adding on to what ma'am said, like even I've noticed that like she shared a lot of pictures of the olden days, like pictures taken at quizzes during the olden days where there are like all women teams and all that stuff. So adding on to what she said, I think like it is something to do with the changing times, because like older men even now they aren't hostile to women quizzing, or they haven't said anything like even remotely sort of that would make anybody uncomfortable. It's only like the boys nowadays whom I've at least experienced. In my experience, that's what I've seen. And also, I think one more thing is that because it's shifting away from sort of like as ma'am said, the themes are changing, right? So now they're accommodating more of sports and games, and a lot of pop culture that seems to revolve around what men follow more than women do. So I think that also could alienate women who aren't into the same things.
So it's up to us to run more quizzes, I think, as far as possible. The herd has done a fantastic job, but if we can start once life opens up, having live quizzes with more female quiz masters, asking stuff that we like.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Romaiza from Chai Pe Quiz recently conducted an all-women quiz where all the participants were women, and she is of course a woman quiz master. And even like the how she framed it was on purpose that she had all the questions centered around women. But even if
That's
she hadn't
fantastic.
done that, I think it was a lovely inclusive quiz which had covered a lot of topics, and none of them were sort of like you see the answer and you're like, what's this? I've never heard of it. It was all something which everybody had heard of before. So I think that was great.
Good.
Yeah, so thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been great talking to both of you with all of the insight, and it's been great knowing about HOQ, knowing about ma'am's experience with quizzing.
Thanks
Thank you for having
us.
us. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you so
Bye.
much.